All right, so what do we have here? It says the figure below shows the graph of the derivative of a function of f. Use this graph to discuss the graph of f, and then include a sketch of a possible graph of f. Now, again, when we're doing our possible sketches, they don't have to be exact or anything, so that's the nice thing. All right, so this is our derivative, and so here we have positive slopes, okay? So basically, positive slopes, so we're increasing from where? Well, from negative infinity up to -1. Okay. And then what happens? Well, then if we think about our second derivative, then we have a slope of 0, and we've gone from negative slopes to positive slopes. And so our second derivative at that point, that means we've switched and we have an inflection point. So at the x equals a -1, we have an inflection point. Okay. And because of that horizontal tangent line here. Okay. And due to horizontal tangent line. Okay. And then what happens? Okay, well now it's still positive because remember this is our slope. So we're thinking about what is our f prime of x. It's still positive. So we're still increasing from, and we're going from what? From -1 up until 1. Then what happens? Well, guess what? We have another horizontal tangent line. Okay, so it's another inflection point. Inflection. Okay, so we have inflection point at x equals 1, and we're still increasing because it's still on the positive side. Remember, this is positives, these are negatives, this is 0, until we hit right here. And so, it's all positives. We're all increasing. Our original function is still increasing. We just had a point of inflection here. We have a point of inflection here. And then at this point, this is where all of a sudden we're starting to decrease. Okay. Increasing until we hit x equals 2. And then at that point, what we're going to do is we're going to switch to decreasing. Okay, so that means our slopes are going to be negative at this point here because we're now in the negatives. And so now when we draw our original function, that's when we have to switch over to going down in the opposite direction. So now let's try to draw what we have here. And again, this is just rough sketching of what we have. So basically we're increasing from, let's go up here. Here's our -1. Then we have a 1. Then we have a 2. Now that's not perfect, but whatever. And so we're increasing up until the -1, at which point we have an inflection point. Okay. And then we're still going to be increasing all the way up until we hit the 1. Okay. And there's going to be another inflection point. And then at 2, that's all of a sudden, that's when we switch to decreasing. So at 2, I know that that's going to be a max point here. So that's going to be some kind of a max point, at which point we're going to start coming down. And again, that's all I know. But up till here, and then we have at this point, we're coming down. We have an inflection point here. So we're going to go from concave down, and now we're going to kind of go to concave up. But then at the -1, we've switched, and we must have to go back down to concave down again. Okay, so again, these are rough sketches. It'd probably be better to draw your points in it before, but we know that here we're going, increasing, our slope is increasing. So, we're going up. At the -1, we have this point of inflection. So we're switching from concave down to moving to concave up. Then what happens is at that 1, we're going to switch again, another inflection point. So we're going to go from concave up to concave down. And then at that point, we're going to switch to, we're decreasing. So our slopes here are positive, positive, Here's our negative slope. Here, this is going to be, you know, kind of a zero slope. Here is going to have a zero slope. And here is going to be a kind of a point of inflection. So we're going to kind of go, it's going to be something like that. And here we're having something that's going to something like that. Okay. So again, rough sketches of what's going to happen, but that's going to be what it should look like. Something like that going from this graph to this graph here. And again, that's because we have, you know, 2 points of inflection, and then we're going to a decreasing slope. So hopefully, again, this is going to take practice using uh, drawing these on your own, but then hopefully that'll help you get to the point where you can draw these and figure out where the slopes are going and what the inflection points are. So let's stop there and we'll come back for some more.